So as we emerge from this sort of economic hiccup that's hit us both domestically
it's momentary.
And globally, what sort of visibility channels, I guess you could almost call them SEO 2.0 channels, will emerge as being dominant? You find a lot of folks within our industry embracing sort of new forms of visibility management. Some of them are social media related, some of them are not. And sort of, where do you see that? Do you see that as a natural extension of SEO, more of a natural extension of PR? You know, what's your thinking on that?
Well, PR and SEO are merging in very interesting ways. I mean, SEO really is a form of PR when you really think about it. You know, if you want guaranteed results and guaranteed visibility, you buy an ad. But if you want to influence results and influence visibility with no guarantees of return, which is a lot like PR, then you practice SEO. So just as a PR person can pitch a story to the New York Times with no guarantee of success, much less if they do pick up that story, is it going to be, you know, buried in page 87 in section 3, or is it going to be on page 1? SEO works in much the same way, which is not to denigrate PR, because a very good PR person with a lot of experience and a good strategic approach and a good pitch can get the story on page 1, or at least in section A of the New York Times. SEO works in much the same way. It's ongoing. There are no guaranteed results, but you can nurture it and you can increase visibility. Social media is playing an enormous part of that, not only because social media is very SEO friendly. We already mentioned blogs as being very friendly platforms, but even a vehicle like Twitter picks up links, and adding links to Twitter, adding keywords to Twitter can increase visibility. Ditto big parts of Facebook and other social networking sites, assuming that that's publicly available content, not content that's privacy protected or behind some sort of a wall. So these all open up huge new SEO opportunities. I don't think that there's going to be one dominant platform or channel. SEO is very much about content, and there are so many new content channels and content opportunities out there, not just for text, but for podcasts, for video on YouTube, that you can really optimize all kinds of assets, not just your own website and not just your own blog.
So is SEO visibility and potentially social media visibility about getting the level of visibility that you deserve, or is it actually about trying to get a little more visibility than you deserve? I mean, within PR, you know, a good PR agency will really sort of promise, I'll get you a little more visibility than perhaps your company deserves. But if you're not worthy of the front page of the Times, no PR wizard is going to be able to get you there.
Right, but you don't necessarily want to be on the front page of the New York Times. That's not necessarily appropriate. If you're selling some very, I don't know, obscure tool that is used by beekeepers, you want to be where the beekeepers are, which is probably not page 1 of the New York Times. So it's about relevancy, it's about audience, it's about context. SEO is also about PR in the sense that you can really get your message out there, and you can use SEO to combat the negative things that might be out there as well. If people are speaking badly about your brand, your company, your products, your services, and those are the things that are showing up on a web search, obviously there are other things you should do to correct or ameliorate a truly bad situation. But you can elevate your own search results to not obliterate those results from the web. You don't control what content is on the web, and you can't take things off of other people's sites. You can, however, raise your own visibility, so maybe those negative results are pushed back to page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of search engine results.
Sure. I mean, I guess people call that reputation management, particularly as it results to the company name or potentially executive names. And interestingly, a business that Didit is also involved in with Dun & Bradstreet, their online business directory, which is powerprofiles.com. One of the key elements that actually has people buying it is the fact that the business profile tends to rank really well for the company name search, particularly for those people who become members. And having that sort of positive halo effect page, which has the D&B logo on it and allows the company to tell its own story right there in another venue other than their own homepage, has ended up being an interesting channel for us. We have some SEO companies who've actually embraced it and are reselling it. And we never really thought about the SEO channel as a reseller of the Power Profiles memberships, but that immediate lever of a reputation management page is sort of more filled with warm fuzzies than a blog post which might have negative things in it. Creeping up in the results has ended up being an interesting.
Profiles and listings and directories are all critical to SEO, and I think they're really overlooked because people tend to think of them as directories or profiles and not as search engines. But if you're a lawyer, for example, Martindale-Hubbell is really a legal search engine, and you need and want to be in it, and you need and want to manage your profile. These types of things can also aid tremendously in reputation management. The JetBlue example comes to mind when they had a big PR disaster not too long ago. We were talking about the instantaneous effect of SEM over SEO, but a really well thought SEO strategy that impacts news can also become very high in results. We saw JetBlue react with press releases, with news stories, with YouTube videos, and their message about their perspective on this crisis with canceled flights and lost baggage very quickly rose to the top of search results for searches on JetBlue, and very quickly counterbalanced the negative stories about the brand and about the airline.
So are there any, what's the biggest game changer within the SEO community? Are they the things that we've already seen and the fact that, Twitter is gaining more prominence, or there are other game changers that you see?
I don't think it's one channel like Twitter, but I think the importance of social media can't be underestimated. It used to be a lot easier, and this again gets into reputation management, to control your brand and to control what was being said about your brand when anybody who and their brother couldn't jump in and participate in the conversation and create information and content about your brand on blogs, on websites, on Twitter, on YouTube, anywhere. This makes SEO a much bigger game to embrace because everybody's playing it. So reputation monitoring is very, very important. Listening metrics are very important. And then creating a holistic SEO strategy that really embraces not just your own web presence, but takes into the account the online presence of anybody else who is important to your brand, to your product, or your service, and makes sure that you're there and engaging and well optimized in the channels that those people are playing in.
So do you think the sort of search engine wars will continue in a very similar fashion to the way they have now? Obviously Microsoft's investing heavily in the Bing launch, trying to move the needle in query share. A lot of pundits are sort of wondering how long they'll continue to sort of push that query share needle percent by percent on a percent by percent basis, as well as at this point I think the consensus is probably the Yahoo Microsoft alliance deal will go through. Do you see there being some disruptor of that whole sort of big three, or are they going to sort of be the big three that duke it out, or the big two once the...
I think it's going to be the big two, and I don't see another player anywhere on the landscape that has the resources to enter this battlefield between two of the wealthiest and most powerful media companies in the world to take up arms and begin to fight against them. So I think that Bing is going to continue to battle Google for dominance. I'm by no means convinced that Bing can achieve dominance when Google is part of the lexicon in every language you can think of. Competition is always healthy. Bing has a lot to offer, but I think we've got a two-horse race right now.
It's becoming two horses.
It's two and a half horses.